I like that music. Hi, everybody.
Hey, people, how you doing? I have a bit of a scratchy throat today, so if I start sounding like Kermit, just you know, filter it out somehow. Anyway, we have a nice show today. We're going to be talking UFO and some stuff coming up that I think everyone will be interested in. And I have a little bit of info for the Dark Shadows people, and I'm sure Mark has stuff too.
Yep. I went yesterday to see a movie with my granddaughter. And this is a movie she wanted to see. And I was absolutely positive I was going to hate it.
It's sort of like that when you start taking the kids to
So
movies.
we went to see the Barbie movie. I was amazed that I liked it. It was well done, it was clever. Uh, there were a few weak spots there, but it really, for a movie about a doll, it was pretty good. And what I'm amazed at is that Mattel was in back of this movie. Their name was at the beginning of it. So they were involved in the production of this film. And the movie bashed Mattel something fierce.
Well, they have a sense of humor.
Yes, they do. And I have to commend Mattel for being good enough to sit aside and watch these people make fun of them. Because they did. You know, there's a lot of sexual innuendo in this film. I don't want to ruin it for people. People get upset when you put spoilers on movies,
I
but
know.
it's very clever. The beginning has a homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay, not what
I'll
you'd
tell
expect from Barbie.
no, and I'll tell you about it after the show's over. I'll tell you what they did,
Okay.
but it was cute. And then there's another one where Barbie has a little run-in with some construction workers and gives them some information that surprises them.
Ah.
So I told Melanie about that already. But it's really cute. You know, a lot of actors I didn't recognize, and there was one scene I didn't understand.
Okay.
Barbie was starting to get cellulite.
Oh yeah,
The woman that played Barbie, I forget the actress's name,
Margot
but
Robbie.
okay. There's a scene where she's like seeing a doctor or something, and they're trying to decide how to fix this, and like I said, I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but they say, and it's not part of the film. It's almost like somebody accidentally recorded it, and it says because she's feeling ugly, Barbie is, and somebody, not it's not part of the film, it's not any of the characters saying it, it's like a behind the scenes kind of thing, and you hear somebody say, well, they cast the wrong actress in that woman's name if you're going to try to make her look ugly. Now that seemed like a very odd thing to include in the movie.
Well, they probably did it because the actress insisted on it. If
I
she's
don't know,
feeling,
but it was very odd for that to be. I mean, I could see if after the film they made a comment like that or something, but just overdubbing what was going on in the movie with this little statement, I didn't quite understand that. So
uh,
maybe if somebody else saw it or read something about it, or Melody is real good at tracking how things worked. That's why Melody's such a good writer. She can track shit down.
Aw, thank you.
You are good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, something we mentioned, I think, on the last show, but something we've decided on is that, and it's going to be Melody doing the writing. I'm going to help her. I'm going to, because Melody doesn't drive, so I'm going to try to track down things and talk to
Mark's
people
gonna
and
be
so
the
forth to
driver.
help. Right. So we're going to jointly work on a book
Yeah.
about UFOs. Now, here's why. There is a missing segment of the UFO believers population that is not being addressed very well right now. You will notice when you watch these myriad of documentaries, there's hundreds of them out there, about maybe a tenth of them are worth watching, but there's a whole bunch of them out there. And they all seem to lean one way or the other. They're either the Dr. Stephen Greer aficionados that believe the aliens are here to help us and they're good guys and so forth, and the Lou Elizondo, who is supposedly has something to do with the government, which I still keep hearing is questionable. But, you know, he's apparently somewhere involved in that. But he is convinced that the UFOs and the aliens are here to kill us. And that we need to build up arms to battle them, I guess, or something. I don't know how you're going to do that with the technology that I'm seeing. I think if they wanted to kill us, we'd all be dead.
A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something to think about. If you're worried about it, I really don't think that if there are aliens, I think there are aliens, absolutely, definitely. Whether they are here or not is the question.
What I was going to say is,
I'm sorry. Did I step on you?
no.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I set up things when I'm talking.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to step on you. I'm sorry.
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No. You can't step on me. And the way I talk, if you don't step on me, you'll never get a word in edgewise. I've been thinking about this theory that these people, the UFO folk, are us from the future, which is a viewpoint that I held for quite some time, at least in a potential thing. I was looking at the alien. What do they call it? They don't use the usual terms. Necroscopy. The where they showed the dead aliens, and they did an excision of, and what is it we call it when somebody dies? And God, getting old sucks.
Autopsy?
Thank you. Alien autopsy.
Oh, yes, I've seen that one.
And they have the bodies laying out there. And I started looking at them, and I said to Larry, because we've been looking at all this stuff because of it. Maybe they weren't us from the future. Maybe they're one of the Aboriginal forms. Because if you look at them, aside from their big heads, they look like us. And I mean, even with the female alien that they have there, the main one that's on camera, her vaginal area, to speak of vaginas, looks human. So I said, what if that's one of the Aboriginal forms? And, they decided, oh, we'll take a monkey. No, an ape,
And shave it.
and shave it and combine it with, and you get something similar to a human. So maybe they aren't us from the future. Maybe they are the one of the original makers of us. So if that's the case, they're not going to be trying to kill us. So they're going to be trying to preserve the planet and help us along. So I think, even though I have a lot of reservations about Dr. Stephen Greer, I lean more toward his viewpoint that this is more of a benevolent presence. And there may be bad ones in the mix, Not that they're bad, but they're just not. They have a whole different view of the world and
You won't be able to hear anything. Next time. Sorry, that was Georgia.
Oh.
And to Melody's comment about genital things is because of my mention of the Barbie movie.
Yes.
If you'll see the Barbie movie, you'll see what we're talking about.
See, I'm female, so I can use the word, But to me, that makes as much sense as anything, and therefore, if we have, this is the thing, we have to totally re-examine our history because of this information we've been given. And when we look into the past and, even the biblical stories with Mary being impregnated by an unknown source and giving birth to, and of course there's 8 million sons of God in mythology. Osiris, Plato, he's not mythological, but no. And
supposedly. He lived so long ago, it's really hard to tell whether he was real or not.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the people.
The current viewpoint is he was real.
Oops.
And although God knows there have been tons of books written on the topic. But anyway, we have to re-examine everything. And if this fellow who has the book out saying aliens were demons, well, perhaps some of them were. And what is a demon? It's a negative force, something from another dimension or something that doesn't share our values. And a jinn, that's a popular thing in the Middle East. We have to look at our language and our topics and our subjects and re-examine them and reformulate them, because everything is up for grabs now. And at least so far as I'm concerned. You still have the people over in the Reddit groups going, there are no UFOs. That's just fake. Sorry, son. You've been had, okay? I feel sorry for the paid debunkers, because they all have egg on their faces, and I'm sure they weren't warned beforehand. So anyway, this book that we're talking about doing will have a lot of a focus on the central core areas that are not being dealt with by the major media. And of course, nothing in reality is being dealt with by the major media. But
Nobody really knows what's going on.
exactly, exactly. And I want to throw something out there that I thought of the other day. I had a dream and it made me wonder. You know, in all of the, well, not all of them, but a lot of the near death experiences, there's the tunnel of light. Wouldn't it be interesting if that was a wormhole?
You're starting to sound like Travis Taylor.
I know. That's okay. Travis Day was a very bright man.
Yes, but he's sure focused on that wormhole thing.
Well, I think that's what it was. I think they know what it is. So.
The gravitational pull that would be involved in a wormhole, though, I don't know if that would work on contact with the planet, but
What did
maybe.
Arthur C. Clarke say about any sufficiently advanced science would look like magic?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Any significantly
Thanks.
advanced uh what's the
Science.
word? It wasn't science, but it was something like that. Any sufficiently advanced
Technology?
technology, I think. I'll have to look it up after the show. Would appear as magic. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you were back in 1950 and you wandered into one of those LED wall sound stages, you would literally think it was magic.
Yeah.
I mean, any of you who haven't seen one of those, watch Mandalorian, because that whole thing was filmed in a round. 90% of it was filmed in this round sound stage with a circular LED wall and a ceiling in
Yeah.
it that can portray almost anything.
Yep. It's that's the future of production. And happily, all of my friends who are into film and theater, um, that's going to level the playing field for all of us. The so yeah, I mean, the stuff going on now would look like magic to people 50 years ago. And if we multiply that by a million, you know, and I have to, Sagan's little missive that he said a billion times about um, incredible, oh, help me here, Mark.
I'm not sure.
Incredible assertions require incredible evidence or something like that.
Yes, I heard that the other day. Somebody quoted him on one of the UFO
Yeah.
documentaries.
However,
There's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dr. Travis Taylor said, bullshit. It just needs evidence. It doesn't need, it's like, it, uh, this isn't a pissing contest. It's just an assertion, and then you look into the evidence, and.
Now, have you ever watched that show, the Skinwalker, and seen Travis Taylor make one of those quotes he always makes, and seen the look on Eric's face?
Yeah.
Sometimes he looks like, oh God, I'm sitting here with this guy.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some disagreement about.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of disagreement, but
between the two of them. Well, he's the one that got really pissed off when he found out that Taylor
yes.
was working for the.
Eric
and so
is
was
the one that got very peeved.
So was Fugel. He wasn't happy about it either.
Well, it's the thing of it is that I'm on Insider, which means I pay $10 a month and I get a T-shirt. But
Now,
I
didn't you
also,
discontinue that because
I
you were
did.
being haunted?
I was given it free, so
Oh, because of that?
because of that, so I was added on. I don't pay the $10 a month. I did get the T-shirt, though.
See,
But
Melanie got me on the internet to begin with.
yes,
Many, many years ago, there was a group called, there was a internet uh, provider at the time, one of the very early ones, and it was called Prodigy.
yeah,
And you didn't like everything was on Prodigy. It wasn't stuff on the internet. It was all
it was
in
all
these.
there.
What did they call the groups on there?
Our interests and
Something
oh
like
god,
that.
we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, there was a. God, how do I remember? There was a woman on there named Karen Baker,
Yeah,
and she was one of the ones that set up the groups and
yeah.
uh,
She
policed
was a
them and
she
kept
was
them
a
under
member.
control. Yeah. And she's the one that got me set up doing the toy group.
Yep,
And for doing that, I got Prodigy for free.
that was the
So
good thing about it.
that was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
free internet back then was big because it you could easily
it
pay
was expensive.
150 a month. Yeah, and
Well, Melanie and I were talking about the other day. We were talking about Genie.
yeah,
That was like the very beginning. That was before there was any. Uh,
web. There was no web.
yeah, there wasn't any. There were news groups. And no, not just news groups. It was actually even before news groups. It was what they called the policeman's other ball. What was that?
Oh,
It was
oh God, um, Usenet.
bulletin board.
Oh, the bulletin boards. Oh
It
yeah.
was a
Well, that was
it was
part
a
of it.
bulletin board, and people used to share software that they created and information about club meetings and it was literally like a bulletin board except
Yep.
you did it electronically and it didn't cost anything for the bulletin board but to get there
Yeah.
through Genie if you were prime time which was like 9 to 5 it was $60 a minute. We're not talking an hour here, we're talking a
A
minute.
minute.
And that was a lot of money in 1980.
Oh hell yeah.
And but if you got on there at night, I think it was like $30 an hour.
Yeah.
It
It was 30
became
an hour.
much cheaper. And what everybody used to do is if you ever watch War Games and that computer setup he's got, that's what we all had back in that time period. If you wanted to hook up to the internet, you took the receiver of your telephone and you put it down into this voice, it took sound and projected the sound over the internet. And you might have heard these neen or neen or neen or neen. That's literally the way the stupid thing sounded.
Sounded like a donkey.
And you could load software on your computer off of cassette tapes.
Yep.
There was a company, they're still in business actually. I was surprised. It was called Sam's 99. And you used to be able to buy software. They started out making software for the TI 99 4A, which is where the 99 came from in the Sam's 99. But then they made stuff for lots of computers. And it was literally sound. It was that ring, ring, ring. You just play, and you couldn't turn the volume all the way down, or it wouldn't go through to your computer. So I usually just walked out of the room because it took like an hour to load a program.
Oh yeah. And it took forever to link up to the internet sometimes. It would
Yeah.
call and it'd be busy, and then you had to call back, and it was a
And
pain.
it, but what you would do is you would set your computer up with like a timer, and you would have it do this at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning when the rates were as cheap as possible, and the bulletin boards. And here's the thing: the bulletin boards most of the time had 3 or 4 phone lines. So if there was more than 3 people trying to get on there, you had to wait.
You just had to sit on your hands.
Yeah, your system, you would set it up to like once every 3 minutes it would try again. Well, it cost you money every time you tried, so
Yeah.
you had to pay for each one of those fails.
That's something we need to point out to youngsters is that was a time you couldn't call all over the country for nothing or for a basic phone request.
Oh, oh no! If
You,
I wanted to call New York, it cost me, $6, $7, $8 for a 3 minute call.
yeah,
So if you wanted to talk to your grandma for an hour, it's going to run you.
yeah,
Now it doesn't matter. And something that annoys me is when I dial my own area code on my cell phone, why do I now have to put a 1
I
in
know.
the area code? You never used to have to do that. When it
Nope.
started, you didn't have to do that. I'll
Now
tell
you
you,
have to.
Steve Jobs' death really screwed up Apple.
Yeah.
Because now my iPhone butt dials, which it never used to do when Jobs was alive. He that's one of the things he promised, is that his phone wasn't going to butt dial. That it recognized a deliberate rather than just an accidental.
And
You
sitting
know,
on your phone, yeah.
yeah, but anyway, so
Well,
that's really down a different road than we were going to take this podcast.
anyway, um, so now what we were saying is that future technology, vastly future technology, would look very different than what we have now. So, yeah, any of the current questions, we may be asking ourselves these things, but we have to understand the limits of it. Travis Taylor is a very brilliant man. He is a rocket scientist.
Oh yeah,
And
obviously he's smart. He just sometimes that accent, I think, is what throws people,
yeah,
because
that
people
is.
automatically think if you speak with an accent, you're stupid.
Well,
But
we come from Southern folk, and we remember the days when our father used to go into places, and he still had a Texas twang, and they started talking loudly at him like he was deaf or something. And our mother, even more so, because she had an Arkansas accent, and our grandparents. So,
oh, I have to tell you a good line from a movie. Then we can continue.
yeah.
I was watching this movie called Champions
Oh yes, I
with
like
Woody
that.
Harrelson. Have you
Yeah.
seen it?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm talking about the scene with the girl with Down syndrome,
Yes. Yeah.
where the guy comes in and he's talking real loud to her, and she says, "Hey, idiot! I've got Down syndrome. I'm not deaf."
I'm not deaf. I know. I know. I like
I'm
that.
sorry. I didn't interrupt you, but I wanted to make sure
No,
I commented on that.
that's a very good reference, and yeah, we need to remember that. That's also many Down syndrome people are very smart. So treating somebody like that like they're stupid is stupid.
Oh, well, like Connor's my grandson. He's autistic, and he's very intelligent.
He's brilliant. He's got
You know,
his own
he knows
YouTube channel.
he knows every movie that was ever made, when it was released, who made it. I mean, he loves movies. That's what he
Yeah.
wants to do when he grows up. Is he wants to make movies.
Well, let me. You gave a movie recommendations, and then we'll get back to UFOs. I promise. Um, Blue Beetle is wonderful. I went in thinking I'm gonna sleep
Another
through it.
superhero movie.
Oh God! And on top of it, a DC one. I'm not a
Oh,
DC
it
fan.
was DC. I thought I didn't
Yeah,
think it was. Okay, it was
DC,
DC.
and I'm watching it going, oh God! It's not only a superhero movie; it's DC. Now I like Marvel. I'm fine with Marvel. I used to read comic books, so I'm not a, you know. But anyway, I saw Blue Beetle. I love it. It's a Latino family, and when you grow up in California, you know Latino people, and so we're enough conversant in the culture that I got all the jokes. It's just wonderful, and you find out that the biggest, meanest one of the family is the grandmother. She was a revolutionary, so they gave her the biggest gun. I won't spoil any more of it, but it truly is a good film. The only weak part, as is almost always the case with DC, is the central character. The Blue Beetle is just, they're trying to make him good and pure, and he's boring. So, but the rest of the family is great, and I recommend it. So go see Barbie and Blue Beetle. And then no blue Barbie though, because I think that's
Barbie will
probably
Barbie will surprise you.
yeah.
If you're
I'm gonna see it.
if you're like me, I went with my granddaughter because she wanted to see it. She's a big Barbie fan. She was kind of a little put off by it because she's 8 years old, so she didn't get a lot of the jokes. So she wasn't. So if you take a little kid, they might not. If they're big Barbie fans, they might not appreciate it. But I did. I thought it was very good.
Well, tell Georgia they got a couple of things on their way to her.
Oh, cool. She likes presents.
Yeah. Well, they're Barbie presents too. So yeah.
I just bought her Squishmallow. That's what she collects. She
Yeah,
has
I know.
12 of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I know she likes the big ones. Mainly
Well,
what
yeah,
I
but those
think
are
of.
almost impossible to ship
Yeah,
them.
and well, anybody who sells plush knows that what you do is you get a vacuum, you stick them in a collapsible bag,
Oh, yeah, you buy one of those. Yeah, I've seen those.
and
Oh,
it
I bet you
shrinks
could
down.
really reduce them.
Oh yeah, they go down to about that big.
It's like those foam mattresses.
Exactly. And you ship it out, and it's next to nothing to ship. So you sometimes get nasty remarks from people on eBay, but
It squished it.
you
Uh,
squished it down. So
well,
what?
stick a pin in it, and it'll go poof.
It automatically. So anyway, such is life. Um. Anyway, so we're getting back into UFOs. We also have been approached by various different people. We weren't approached like, here you know a lot about UFOs. They know I have an interest in it, and I've run fan conventions. So it's like on that level. Um, we've been approached to participate in the Citizen Summit on UFOs and UAP. And I set up a Facebook group to for the development of the ideas and stuff. So anybody who wants to participate, let me know and I'll add you to the group. And yeah, come on down.
Hey,
That's
we're just two people.
exactly.
Any people that can add to our knowledge base, we're all in favor.
I'm going to talk to Preston and hopefully Dolly about it on Tuesday or
Pre-
Thursday.
Preston Dillett and Dolly Saffron.
Hmm.
Okay, I always worry about pronouncing her name correctly. They were guests on this show, and they started their own podcast, and they're doing very well. And it's about paranormal UFOs and so forth. Now, something I'm surprised. Dolly has been focusing on solar phenomenon,
Yeah.
and I don't know if any of you saw this last week. A big chunk of the sun broke off and
Yeah, but it does.
is orbiting the sun. Now, apparently, this happens
It
every
does.
once in a while. And what's odd is the piece it breaks off goes around the sun and then goes back where it was, which I don't know
Does
how
make
that
you
works.
wonder.
Yeah, so I'm surprised Dolly hasn't put anything out there about that occurrence, but
She
I
may
haven't.
still be, percolating it.
Yeah, or else I just didn't happen to see it.
Yeah.
I only get on Facebook. I don't like Twitter. It isn't anything to do with Musk. I think Elon Musk is a great guy, and I'm fine with him purchasing Twitter. So it has nothing to do with that. I've just never got into Twitter. I've never had an account. So sorry, those of you who are big Twitter fans, I'm not. So
I am on Twitter, but I could take it or leave it. I like it because I'm on Dr. Schindler's List. And yeah, no, Schindler's List.
well,
But
it is humorous. I'm
it
sorry.
is funny. But the man's name is Dr. John Schindler. That's what it is. And it's his list. So, but anyway, he gives a lot of information and insight. I recommend his list if you are troubled by any of the things going on. Like the old days, major media used to scare the hell out of us all the time. Like, the this group is going to take over and take away your Social Security. Well, we know now they can't do that. So they can certainly try, but
Well, you heard about
not
the
gonna happen.
latest thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That ATA or ACA 33 that's going to void Prop 13,
yeah.
and
That's not going to work.
all of our property taxes are going to go up 10 times what they are now.
Yeah, that's really going to help homelessness in California.
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to put all the elderly people on the. Well, it won't be because I have enough money saved up to pay the damn taxes. But I ain't going to be happy about it, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's the same thing with us. We can pay our taxes, but even if they go up, but it, yeah,
It's
not going
not
to be
something
happening.
that's not what I intended that money for.
Yeah, exactly. You were kind of hoping one day for a vacation, but
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I realize that I don't know how many more years I have left. I'm 67 years old. So who knows? 10 years, maybe
you have at
20 if
least
I'm
10 years.
real lucky. My grandmother and grandfather both lived into their mid 80s.
Well, Poppy was almost 90.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I get a lot of time. But in the meantime, I'm helping to pay for good vacations. In October we're going on another Disney cruise. It's the second time we've gone.
Cool. Neat.
It's just a 3-day cruise, so it wasn't real expensive. But the kids wanted to do something for Halloween, so we're doing that.
That's neat.
And plus,
Well,
I have a Disneyland pass now again, so I go to the park at least once a week. I go to the park.
cool.
And
That's what
Connor
you should do.
Yep, Connor next year wants to go to Florida, so we're gonna pack up and go to Disney World next year.
Cool. Well,
But it's better than leaving the money for the state.
exactly. Splendid. Well, your brother-in-law has actually agreed to a vacation in November. So
Larry?
we're going to, of course, come down and see you guys. But a trip to LA is not a vacation. It's just going down to see family. In November, we're going to go to Bullhead City to see Monica and Wanda. And Laughlin's right there. So, yeah.
I don't hear from Monica much. Wanda every once in a while I hear from.
Oh, I never hear from Monica. It's always Wanda. Yeah, that's it. It's like with Larry and I. Nobody hears from Larry. I'm Larry's conduit anyway.
Well, I can understand because at one time Monica and I used to date, so I can understand why her current spouse would have problems with that. Although Wanda doesn't seem to have a problem with it, so I mean,
no, at all. I mean, they've been together for so many years. So Anyway, what I was going to say is I'm going to be doing a UFO-related interview while I'm down there. So I'm going to...
In person or?
Yeah, in person. Christine Wilson lives down in that area. She has to kind of hide from her dad's followers, so I won't say exactly where. She's on the way. So we're going to meet with her and do a couple of interviews, and then I can always do them online or over phone.
Just keep all this information and people written down so that once we get into the book, we'll be able to gather some of this information.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got that going, and I also have some contacts I'm going to be making. Any of you who are familiar with the book, The Vertical Plane, about the Dawdleston mystery. Google it. It's really interesting.
I will.
It's almost insane to believe it's possible, but the more you look into it, it almost becomes impossible not to think it happened, just because of various things that happened. But anyway, one of the people involved in it I have contact with now. So she had a direct connection to the events. So I'm going to be talking to her. So we have that. And we've got all kinds of different... While that's not UFO related, it is time related. And when we're talking about time, we're talking about space. And...
It's about time.
Yeah, thank you.
It's about time. It's about space. It's about people from another place.
Exactly.
Those of you younger than 60 have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the we have all kinds of things set up and coming to pass. I also want to let everybody know that I've just posted a bunch of stuff to the Facebook wall that I don't think's been shown before. The photos of Catherine Lee Scott, who played Maggie Evans on Dark Shadows. I posted pictures from her, the cottage she lived in Marble Arch in London after she left Dark Shadows. And we stayed there. Well, some of our group stayed there. And the idea was that two of us, because we were a group of 5 and plumbing would only take about 3, 2 of us stayed at a hotel and we were all going to pay for it. And of course, what happened was Larry and I stayed at the hotel and we paid for it. But that's life. Anyway, I have some photos of the inside of the cottage. It was also owned by Henry Kaplan, one of the creative, technical end of Dark Shadows. And so anybody into that stuff, check out my wall. I also have a picture of Catherine when she was still Marlene Kringstad.
Now, was she the Vulcan? Who was the
Yes.
Vulcan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her that was the Vulcan?
Yes. Yeah.
On the episode of Next Generation, if you're a Star Trek fan, the one that was on the planet of the alternate Vulcans, and they ended up shooting Picard with an arrow to prove he wasn't a god. That was the episode that she was in.
Yeah, she's done a lot of media fandom type things. So I think that'll be of interest. There seems to me something that's coming up that is Dark Shadows related, and I can't remember it for the life of me. So watch my Facebook wall, and I'll post it when I have full information.
You're talking about that Roger Davis thing that I told you about?
Remind
And
me.
Laura Parker and Roger Davis, how they had been on a... Okay.
Yeah, they were on on an episode of something. They did a lot of stuff together. Dan Curtis was well known for using the actors he had used in previous projects. He was a lot like Michael Landon in that respect.
Did he have any involvement in the original Battlestar Galactica? Because that's what they were on.
No, but he had friends in the business. So, and anybody who was on the production end of a science fiction or fantasy or horror would always watch other shows. So I'm sure the people behind Battlestar Galactica, what is his name?
Glenn Larson.
Glenn Larson. I'm sure he was a Dark Shadows viewer, because almost everybody was. Back then, there wasn't that much to watch.
Well, you had your big ones were Irwin Allen. Glenn Larson, I think Battlestar was the only one he was involved in, but Irwin Allen did, Voice of the Bottom of the Sea, Lost in Space. So he was the big guy at the time.
And eventually, what was the movie he did?
The Towering Inferno.
Inferno. Thank you.
And I think he also did the Poseidon Adventure.
Poseidon Adventure also, yeah. Where he'd find every actor in Hollywood and put them in.
Yeah, Ernest Borgnine, Shelley Winters. I think that was Shelley Winters' last movie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, let me say something to anybody who's a filmmaker. In our vast phalanx of about 200 viewers, there might be a filmmaker. Stop thinking of Gene Hackman for roles. He's 91. He
He ain't
gets.
doing anything else.
They come to him with scripts now, and he looks at them and says, "I have grandchildren. That's what I do for a living." Yeah.
Oh, let me tell people, if you are on Facebook, if you spend time on Facebook, whenever it tells you anything in the upper right hand corner of your screen, ignore it completely because it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
They put these things up there. Oh, this guy found dead in his house.
Oh,
You
it's always
know,
bullshit.
it's like they had one yesterday. Bobby Sherman found dead at 79.
Yeah,
I looked it up. Bobby Sherman's alive.
he's quite well. Yeah,
He
that's
is 79, but he's still fine. He still has Main Street. You know, you
yeah.
familiar with that?
Oh yeah, he's backyard Disneyland. Yeah,
Bobby Sherman built himself. He didn't hire people. He built it himself.
that's
The
what
first
he got
two
rid of the stress with.
the first 2 blocks of Main Street, that's all he could fit in his backyard. He made a comment about that he was trying to buy his neighbor's house so he could continue it. But
Yeah, well,
it was on the old Disney Channel. They had a thing where they showed him and he walked through it. It's on YouTube if you ever want to watch it.
yeah, I will. I remember from the 16 magazine days, they would always have things on Bobby's Disneyland, and how his parents, I gather, didn't like it, but his parents are long gone. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, he's
79
80.
years old. If you still have your mom and dad, you're really lucky.
Oh, no kidding.
There
But
was a guy at work who's 72, and both his mother and father are alive.
yeah,
They're
it's
in
still
like their mid 90s.
it happens. I mean, especially now these days. It. I mean, my God. As I was reading about actors that are in their 90s, and I mean, the fellow, I can't think of his name. I can never remember his name. He played Al on Happy Days.
Oh yeah, Molinaro or
Yes, Molinaro. And he died at 97, 98. And he was a big guy. So, they have medications now that will keep us around for a while.
now. Why did he leave the show? I don't remember.
I don't think he did. Well, they did
They
Chachi.
replaced him with Pat Morita.
That's right. They did. Joni loves Chachi, and he married Chachi's sister, who was played by John Travolta's sister, and they got married. So he became Chachi's stepdad, and that was on, I think, for a couple of years, and then I think they weren't married. Chachi and Joni were dating, so. And the only one,
Yeah, I don't remember how that came out.
I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I barely watched Happy Days in those days. Happy Days had gone so crazy that
Yeah, I don't.
Jumping the Shark, which they made.
Well, there was one of those posts in the upper right hand corner. There was a thing on there about how Ronnie Howard hated all the other cast of Happy Days, and I never saw anything to that effect.
No one hates Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler is a big sweetie pie. Everybody who works with him says so. And the only one allowed to fight with him was his cousin, Richard Belzer. And Belzer's gone now, so.
He was a very interesting choice in the cast of one of the Scream movies.
Yeah.
Remember, he played like a teacher, the dean at
Yeah.
the school where all the kids went, and
Yeah.
then he got killed
Yeah.
in the movie. They killed him.
Yeah. So, no, don't believe any of that clickbait crap. If you see somebody died, I mean, I automatically think it's horseshit. I saw the thing about Jimmy Buffett, and I went, "Oh, well, that's bull." And then I go over, of course, and find out he really did pass away. He was a fellow Christmas baby, so
I
I'm
always liked
sorry.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. So he has gone on. I wanted to get back to somebody just messaged me and reminded me. I every time I look down like that, I'm looking at my messages. Um, the in belonging to Insider over on Skinwalker Ranch, you get access to the chat room, and it's run by. Initially, it was run entirely by Eric, Dr. Eric Bard, who's the head of science. He hates being called doctor. Who's the head of science at Skinwalker Ranch, and he he'll answer anything you ask him except for science related questions about the ranch. So somebody asked him if it was true that he got pissed at Travis Taylor, and his reply was, "Oh yeah." And he says, "It's fine now, though. We're buddies. I understand because he's been told things." And he says, "Nothing I can tell you guys, but there's a lot that goes on that people don't realize unless you work in that field." So anyway, he's fine with Travis. He does roll his eyes on occasion because Travis will go further than Eric will.
Well,
And
let me make a little comment. We've only got 2 minutes left.
oh,
Anybody out there watching our podcast, if you have had any kind of UFO experience, especially if you have some evidence, like some video or anything like that, we would love to hear from you
yeah, let us know.
because we need content for this book. It's not going to be specifically about UFO encounters and things like that. It's mainly going to be how come these people are doing this and these people are doing this. What is pushing them to the positions they're in? Because it really doesn't. It really looks funny.
Yeah,
It
we're going
does.
we're going to be figuring out who the messenger is and what they're representing, and
Well, it's like the president of the United States. Any president, they're not the ones making the decisions.
no,
It's coming from elsewhere. And
yeah,
I'm not just talking about Biden or Trump. I'm talking about probably all the way back to Eisenhower.
yeah,
So I think the same thing is occurring with these UFO people, is that they are being pushed to the positions they are in by higher ups. And that would be something interesting, is if we could figure out who those people are
yeah,
and why they're doing what they're doing.
yeah. That's what we're going. That's the tilt of the book. So if you have any of that information, you call us.
We will
I
not tell anybody who you are.
not a word. And we're like Jeremy Corbell, but we
Well,
don't tell anybody anything.
just to tell you, I had a top secret security clearance, and I know how to keep my mouth shut.
My husband, a number of people found out somehow that Larry worked for Skunk Works. Let me tell you, it has nothing to do with UFOs. Okay? So, Larry didn't know anything about UFOs.
Well, I
So,
worked on the B2
yeah,
before any of you had ever seen it. I had seen it.
there you
So,
go. And Larry
but
Larry has worked on a lot of airplanes. He's an excellent mechanic.
yep.
He doesn't know about UFOs. So anyway, it's time to wrap it up, and we thank you again for being with us. If you have anything you want to share in the realm of UFOs, or we'll also be getting back, as we always do, to science fiction. My number is 661-899-1704. You can text me, or I probably would prefer text because it's easier for me to get back to you. And
Like, I'm all over the place on Facebook.
yeah,
If you want to
and
find me, type my name in the upper left-hand corner and you will find me.
you
I
will
have
find
2 or 3 groups that I do. I'm a member of Melody's new Facebook group, which you should mention.
Yes, I'm getting that started. I'll be doing some more promotion of it. It's going to be regarding an upcoming summit of normal people when it comes to UFOs and UAPs. I'm also going to be, next week, I'm going to be expanding on another sighting we had that Larry and I have finally realized was a UFO. So we, at the time, we thought it was just a silly thing we saw. But now that we're thinking it through, we think maybe it was. So anyway, all that for next week and more. Have a great week, and stay out of the line of COVID. It's supposed to be making the rounds again, and there's going to be more shots. So, you know how that
Let's
goes.
hope not.
Yeah,
Let's hope not.
Amen. So
Alrighty.
have a great one.
And we will see you next week.
Play
Ta-ta.
us out, Mark.